everyone, it's Monica, and welcome back to the final week of 12 Days of Christmas. Whenever I get to the end of the series, I always look back to reflect what haven't I used. And in looking at some of the cards that I've made in this series, I realized I hadn't used any stencils. So I'm bringing out the Delusion stencils along with my Glimmer paste, and we're going to make a fun, shiny background along with some great snowflakes. Now, as you can see from all the leftover colors on this stencil, it has gotten a lot of use. It is a really great stencil to have in your collection because it is so versatile. You could use it not only for texture paste, but you could also use it with your inks, and it creates a great kaleidoscope background. But today we're going to only be working with two colors. I'm going to be working with some Bo Bunny black glitter paste along with some Nuvo Glimmer paste. Now, for someone that doesn't like glitter too much, I sure have been using it a lot lately. But I have to say that it's not the traditional glitter. When you're working with texture paste, the glitter doesn't get all over the place. And that really is my only complaint about glitter, is it's such a mess. But with the glitter paste, all the glitter is in the paste and it sticks to the card, not all over your workspace. Now, surprisingly enough, I've never used texture paste to cover the entire background of a card. So this is going to be a new adventure for me. But I have used texture paste on cards before, and I do like the look. The glitter texture paste is more moist than my traditional texture paste that I've used in the past. And there are some benefits to that. As you can see, it does glide on very easily with my palette knife. The paste glides on very smoothly, and it enables me to get a nice thin coat over my card. This actually is a benefit for cards because typically your texture paste does add some weight to your cardstock, but because this is a little bit thinner, it will help with the weight of the card. Now, there is a downside to that. Because the paste is more moist, it is going to take a little bit longer to dry. But after I had both my layers on, I set it aside for about 30 minutes, and when I came back, I was good to go. Now, as you can see, I'm adding the black shimmer paste very randomly over my cardstock. I didn't really have a pattern in mind. I just knew that I wanted to use both colors, and I wanted to have a very random background. Now, before I pulled up my stencil, I decided to come back and thin out the layer of my glitter paste one more time. I wanted to make sure that the paste was not too splotchy and it wasn't too thick, because I knew that I was going to be adding some elements on top of the card. So I just thinned it out one more time, and then I pulled up my stencil. Now, because your paste is still very moist, you're going to want to be really careful when you pull up your stencil. You really don't want to smear your pattern at this point, so if you just pull it straight up, you should be fine. You're going to want to put this piece of paper aside to dry, and like I said before, I set it aside for about 30 minutes, and that seemed to do the trick. Now, this snowflake die cut set is from the Ton. And it's actually a set that I've used in a blog hop that I'm currently participating in. I will leave a link to the blog hop at the bottom of the video, so that way you can check out some of the other projects that the design teams are creating, and also give yourself an opportunity to win some fun products. Now, when you get your die cuts, they typically come all together, and you'll cut them out with scissors. But I decided to try something a little bit fun, and I decided to actually die cut them with them being all together. Now, the paper I'm using is some silver glitter paper, and I thought that they would make some great snowflakes. The glitter paper is a little bit thicker than some of my designer paper that I use, and I probably should have run it through my Big Shot a couple of times, because when I did go to punch out the snowflakes, some of them were a little bit harder to get out, but they were able, for the most part, able to punch right out. So once I had all of my snowflakes punched out, I went ahead and put those aside so I could start working on my sentiment. Now the sentiment that I'm working with is from Sew Susie Stamps, and Sew Susie Stamps is co-hosting the blog hop that I mentioned earlier with the ton. And as I indicated before, I will leave that link for you to go ahead and join in on the fun over on the blog hop. I decided to stamp my sentiment onto some vellum paper, and before actually stamping it with my Versamark, I did use my anti-static pouch to ensure that the distress ink only sticks to the Versamark and not to my vellum. Now I wanted to continue with the black and white theme, so I decided to add some black embossing powder from Stampendous. I used a scrap piece of paper underneath my embossing powder to capture the excess, and that enabled me to easily put the extra back into the bottle. Once I had enough of the embossing powder covering my sentiment, I came in with my heating tool to set the embossing powder. I had never embossed on vellum before, so I wasn't sure if it was going to warp up, but I was really happy with the results. The end result was a nice, crisp sentiment. I decided to continue on with the glitter theme, and I added this silver glitter wire ribbon. Wire ribbons are great to work with. They tie up really nicely, and I love the way the bow holds its shape. Once I was happy with my panel, I adhered it to some white cardstock with my ATG tape runner. I decided to fussy cut my sentiment, so I used my Tim Holtz tonic scissors to get the job done. Now when I'm fussy cutting, the best way that I find to get this done is to actually hold the scissors still and move the paper. This way you don't have any harsh lines and you can easily follow the curves of your sentiment. Vellum can be a little tricky to adhere. If you don't have a Xyron machine, you just want to make sure that you do add the glue directly behind the embossed part, so that way your glue doesn't show through the vellum. I am fortunate enough to own a Xyron, so I just ran the sentiment through the Xyron machine, which created the sentiment into a sticker, and I was able to place it easily. Even though the paper was a little bit textured, the stickiness of the Xyron actually held it in place nicely. Once the sentiment was in place, the only thing left to do was to add my snowflakes. I used some pop-up dots that I had in my stash to have these snowflakes rise up on the card just a bit. I wanted them to pop on the card and not get lost in the background. Now at this point I could have called the card complete, but after looking at the card, I thought that the glitter snowflakes were just a little bit too loud, so I decided to tone them down a bit with some white sticker snowflakes. The white sticker snowflakes actually were see-through, so you could still see the glitter, but it toned it down, giving it a more elegant look. So this completes day 10 of my 12 days of Christmas. We only have 2 more days left, and I hope that you've been leaving comments along the way to enter yourself in the drawing for the Tim Holtz Distress Crayons. As always, I will leave a list of the products that I've used to create this card, along with the links to the stores. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you head out. And if you've enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like button. Alright everyone, we'll see you again tomorrow, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the series so far. Thanks for stopping by.